handful of teams got their seasons going in week 0, including a league matchup, that between the Union-Endicott Tigers and the #1 team in all of Section 4, the Maine-Endwell Spartans. Tigers roaming in Spartan country. ME looking to defend its home stadium. Maine-Endwell warming up early. Preston Aqua rolling to his left. He throws it to Logan McGuire. McGuire with the Moss-like catch. A SportsCenter top 10 nominee and an early lead. Acker here then, still in the first. The R1 button, the option. Vincent Mancini lowers the shoulder for 6. Maine-Endwell goes up 13. And then on the pitch, Landon Rollo. He's rolling, as well as the Spartans. They go up 21-0 early. Joey Gianelli doing everything he can to try to keep the Tigers in it. He gets about 25 here on the scamper, but it was way too much, and the Spartans were way too strong. Acker again here in the second quarter. This one doing it on its own. Maine-Endwell back in the win column to start 2024. They picked the win up over the Tigers, 49-14.